Grant, I can remember a long time ago when the first ATM machines were first coming to market, and there was a lot of skepticism. People said, "Well, why would people want a vending machine for money? You know, we vend soft drinks, but why would you vend money out of a vending machine?" And of course, we take that for granted today. Of course, you have ATM machines. And then about a decade or so later, um, the banks started to roll out online banking, and people said, "Well, that'll never work because there are issues of security and will you trust a
Right.
online system to be able to handle your financial transactions?" And of course, we take that for granted. When are we going to be at the point in healthcare, the consumer era of healthcare, where we're empowering consumers, empowering patients to be able to take over a bigger responsibility, not only for understanding their own health and wellness, but also when will it become obvious that, of course, that's the way the majority of our healthcare is going to be delivered?
I think within 3 to 5 years.
Really, that's soon.
I think there's the rate of change in healthcare, the amount of capital going into healthcare and healthcare startups, coupled with the fact that all the old school healthcare businesses, insurance companies, employers, their model simply will not work anymore. So you put those two meteors together, and it's going to happen far faster than it happened in the financial industry. It's not going to take 20 or 30 years. I think it'll happen in 3 to 5, maybe 7 years, because you think about finance, social networking, Google, LinkedIn, um, Uber, all these things are now in your phone when you want it in real time, and it's magic. So if you're sitting on a street corner and you're curious about what the next, great coffee shop is a block away, you Google it. Pops up on Yelp, tells you how many stars it has. That era for healthcare it's going to be a fast follower, because to pull up your phone and say, I need to get a knee surgery, who's the best knee surgeon within 5 miles of me? When you're able to look at your phone and say, it's Dr. Scully and he's 3 blocks away and he's got a 100 rating out of 100, you'll go to that person. And so the technology exists. It's not like we're saying like an ATM. The technology didn't exist. It was this new thing. We have all this stuff on our phone. We do it with finance. We do it with Google. We do it with Facebook. So we're already doing it everywhere else. And now I think healthcare is catching up. And people are much more comfortable with privacy and security because they've proven with banking, as a great example, it can work online. You don't have to shake a teller's hand. And then social media and Google, everyone wants things in real time on their phone. With Facebook now, the world is connected within 5 degrees of separation, maybe even less. And so everything is connected. It's all sitting in your pocket. It's just a matter of time before health is that next thing you look at. And I think you're seeing technology and Moore's law iterate so quickly that it's only going to be a few years before all those experiences you have in consumer technology will happen in healthcare.
So one of the big surprises when the Affordable Care Act in the U.S. became law, which happened in January 2014, was because the lobbyists insisted on so many new things being covered by the base plan of health insurance, that the cost of health insurance went up in many cases for things that people didn't necessarily really need, but insurance had to cover it. And so the solution to that, particularly for the self-insured employers, was to say, all right, we'll raise the deductibles. And so suddenly someone who expected to have a copay kick in relatively quickly each year discovered that they had a $6,000 or $7,000 deductible before anything kicked in. And as a result, consumers now are starting to pay attention to what healthcare costs.
Correct.
And yet we live in a world of healthcare traditionally that has had no transparency, where the cost of a procedure could vary by thousands of dollars within a relatively small geography. Do you see transparency in healthcare pricing becoming something that's going to become more consumer aware for people in the future?
Yeah, so the short answer is yes, but I think coupled with a larger theme. So health in and of itself, in my opinion, is priceless. So I don't think you can actually put a dollar figure on what it is to be healthy or happy. With that being said, people want to engage in their healthcare. You're seeing the comments you made about the trend where 5 years ago, if you had a $10,000 policy, you were on the hook for maybe $500 or $1,000 a year. Now you're on the hook for 50% of that $10,000 policy. All your decisions you make on a day-to-day basis now have a larger impact. So if you combine that with how people think about their families and how people think about their time and the actual cost being the third piece, you bundle all those things together, I think cost and quality have a huge impact. And we're spending a lot of time thinking about if we have someone who's engaged in a program of ours today, the obvious next step is, okay, if you can't get them to avoid a procedure, how do we get them to the right procedure with the right time, with the right doctor, with the right quality? And so it becomes truly, again, holistic. And I think cost will have a huge impact, transparency will have a huge impact, and quality will have a huge impact, right? Quality is something that's sort of very murky in healthcare. And once that gets to a consumer status where we're all going to rate our doctors, we're going to rate the experience, we're going to rate hospitals, you're going to see a huge shift in the places that cost too much and don't have good quality, they're not going to survive. So the places that have great quality at lower costs and can engage people, those will be the ones that survive. And they're going to have to adapt through a new consumer lens. And I think, again, it's going to happen in a really quick period of time.